Stranger Things 2 this week.
Boom.
It's not really a movie, though with Netflix it's kind of blurred the lines now between
It's kind of
film
hard to tell
and
what's a movie.
television.
Yeah.
It's gotten so good.
It's so much better than it used to be, even 5 years ago. Just the production quality alone.
I went back and watched Justified. Good show, fun show, was a good but even that, you watch it, you're like, gosh, there's so much they just couldn't do.
Yep.
So this has changed. As a matter of fact, Cell Block Brawl and Cell Block 99 we'll talk about too. That's another great film that went straight to online. You don't say straight to DVD anymore. What do you say? Straight to streaming?
Straight to streaming.
Straight to streaming. Yeah. So Stranger Things season 2 is what everybody is talking about. Overview from both Not Gage and I. First off, this review from me is mostly positive. You?
Mostly positive.
Mostly positive. We'll
Yep.
give you our full review afterward. As far as spoilers, we're going to try and avoid, since many of you are still binge watching, any specific spoilers, but we will discuss kind of the character arc and development. So we're not going to be like, one of those monsters comes out in episode 8 or anything like that. But we'll do our best. No promises. Okay. So I would say the strong suit of this first. But let's compare this to the first season.
Yep.
I saw the first season, to set this up for you. The very first day it came out, I was up in northern Michigan with my wife, and we said, okay, let's watch this thing, Stranger Things. No one really knew a whole bunch about it, and the first 4 episodes are about as good as the season will ever get. Now, when we watched it, we were like, oh, this is a thriller, this is a horror show,
Yep.
and it's going to be about the background of number 11. And we really liked it. And then when it got to the whole monster kind of thing, season 1 did this, and then kind of did this for me. Now that's me. I'm not like I'm the guy who watches superhero films until Snyder decides that a guy getting punched in the dick for 2 hours is going to be his grand finale, and I tune out. So that's kind of how I felt about season 1. Now in comparison, I would say season 2 starts off pretty weak,
Pretty slow. Yeah.
and gets better. That would be so I would say the season is better overall than the first one, but the first 4 episodes of Stranger Things are probably as good as the series will ever be.
Yeah, see, I would echo the same thing. I think season 1 starts out with a bang. You kind of know where it's going right away because Will disappears. You're like, okay, I get it. They're trying to figure out what the hell just happened to Will. Let's go along for the ride. You kind of see what happens. You know where it's going. Season 2, it's like, hey, it's kind of normal life, but kind of sucky. Everyone's kind of got a sucky version of normal life. You don't really know. You feel like time has passed. You're not really sure where people are at, what's going on. The conflict kind of creeps up on you.
And it feels like
season 2.
And I think it doesn't start out. I wouldn't say it starts out slow. Season 2, it starts out they're trying to kind of tie too many things together while introducing new characters.
Yeah.
It's almost the opposite of what you would usually have with an origin story in a season 2. It's like, well, we have to introduce new characters, and we realize that people didn't like Will because he's annoying and squeaky, and we need to spend more time.
I thought about that. Do you think they thought about that, like season 2, like thinking like, oh, we're stuck with this kid.
By the end of season 1, they just kept opening fan mail, and it was the upside down. Take him, please, dear God, take my Will,
take him.
So let me explain why I think it does this, and that's because they're trying to cram too much in the first few episodes. So this is for people if you're considering watching it, you have to stay with it, and then unlike season 1, that's where you develop these characters and you start to care about them. Surprisingly, I would say. Not the characters you would think. There are really only 3 characters in the show who I think most people care about. Maybe 4. And that is not Will. I forget the name of the other guy who just looks like taller Will. Taller, whinier Will.
Oh, gosh, it's from Mike.
Mike and Will.
Yeah.
Just go to the upside down, don't come back.
Mike is really bitchy in the show. And I realized that when I saw the kid play him and play the character in It. Like, he's only good at playing like a really annoying characters.
Yeah.
Like, he's not he rarely plays a likable character so far in his young
I know you're not supposed to say
career.
that about kids, but we're not Kevin Spacey. We're not touching them. We're just saying we don't like their performances. In contrast, Dustin carries the show.
Exactly.
A lot more Dustin in
I
this
was
season.
glad. It seemed like they really picked up on a few things. They took the notes from the first season, and almost, and to lead into your points, it's like the characters you're supposed to care about the most in the first season, and the background characters, they flip-flopped them.
Yes.
In the second season, which I like a lot.
Yeah, I would say that's a good read on it. So Dustin, if you like Dustin, there's more of Dustin.
Yeah.
And there's more development with Dustin, where you empathize with him quite a bit. He's more than just kind of a glorified talking mouth. I guess all mouths talk, but you understand my point. It's early as we tape this. So Dustin, obviously, I guess Luke, Black Kid, is pretty likable. He's more so benign. He doesn't carry anything, but he's more likable than the other 2 young kids. or any of the girls.
He's kind of the middle ground between the two, Dustin. And I find myself caring more about him than, say, Will, who I'm still praying just disappears.
Please take him. Gorgamot, whatever the hell. I know something like, get the name right. What are the name of the monsters?
Gorgo Monster?
Gorgo Monster?
I don't know.
Not going to work here no more.
Not gonna
work. Okay, Dustin. Bob, Sean Astin, very likable. Now, this is kind of a spoiler because I thought within the first 2 episodes, oh, he's going to be a bad guy.
I thought
because
for
he's
sure.
so corny and likable, and Hollywood always likes to take innocence and subvert it. Like, there's no way anyone's that way, right? No, turns out some people are decent.
Yeah. I was surprised because every time they had him on screen, almost every single time, there was pleasant music in the background. I really thought they were conditioning me to think he was innocent, sweet,
Right.
and they're going to twist it. In fact, he was telling a story to
Now, there is
Will
a
at
twist.
one point.
There is a twist with Bob, I'll tell you that. But spoiler alert, he doesn't. I won't spoil it, but the point is, I respect that they actually kind of maintained a relatively consistent innocence with a character who I liked.
Yeah. There were points throughout the first 5 episodes where I'm like, it can go either way.
He's going to be a pedophile.
Yeah,
he's going to be a pedophile.
He's going to be a plant because
this is going to be bad.
You don't really know where he came from. You kind of got
Right.
hints that he's been a high school friend of what's her face.
I expected him to like
Winona
unzip
Ryder.
himself, and it's Val Kilmer as a Gorgamart. Just
I know exactly.
You're like, oh, that's where you've been. So Bob, and then this is one thing that I think everyone else kind of misses in the show. Someone who is one of my favorite characters, and I think is really just a victim of being is Steve. Steve is actually, now he's the popular kid, a little bit vain, sure, but Steve, unlike, is it Jonathan, Will's older brother?
Jonathan.
We're supposed to empathize with Jonathan, who's a whiny little bitch. The whole show. He doesn't do anything for anybody else, okay? And in this season, nothing. He whines and he cries, and we're supposed to feel like, oh, he's an introvert, and he's sensitive, so he doesn't reach, and he doesn't do anything, and he's not productive, but he's sensitive to his little brother, whereas Steve, and you'll see in this show, like the last show, Steve, okay, spoiler alert, this happens in the first couple episodes, his relationship with, I forgot her name, cute girl. Anyway, goes south through no fault of his own, but he's very selfless. He protects the kids. He leads. He's consistently acting in a way that is considering others before himself. But everyone wants to feel bad for the poor, morose artist who's just kind of an ass.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I don't know that the writers intended that, because if you ask them, people are like,
Nancy.
oh, I don't like Steve.
Nancy. It's driving me crazy.
Nancy. That's it.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but I think Steve is often overlooked as a likable character with a lot of good qualities. Just
A lot
because
of good quality, and I think it's weird because it's this love triangle that when I'm watching it, usually in movies you know which one you're rooting for. And it's weird because I don't know if they intend for you to kind of be rooting a little bit for Steve, then kind of go back and forth as an audience, viewing member.
Yeah.
But I don't know what their intention was then, because if they wanted you to not like Steve, they did a bad job.
Well, for us. But
For
I
us.
also think this is also people who aren't liberals watching. The guy, Hopper,
Yeah.
is very, very liberal. We'll stand up to bullies. So I know a lot of conservatives weren't going to watch the show. There aren't really a ton of, although the left is complaining of the problematic elements of Stranger Things 2 already. I couldn't
Really?
think of something more benign than Stranger Things 2.
It's really not a political show at all.
They have a little bit of a new kid, racism, redneck, doesn't like Luke. There's some of that in there, but it's not a huge component.
No.
So I do like Steve. As people who watch this, you're like, oh, he's a leader. He's selfless. He protects the kids. I don't care that he's better looking than Jonathan. Obviously he's supposed to be the good-looking popular jock. He's a more decent person and less selfish. I wonder if they missed that. I don't know if the entertainment industry always understands that selflessness is seen as a virtue so much as sensitivity. And he's also more truthful than Jonathan.
He is.
Jonathan, just a little bitch. Seems to run in the family. Okay, so I would say the writing is first 4 episodes, Stranger Things, best you'll ever get. The first season. This season, significantly better than season 1. The writing gets better. It gets a little bit convoluted toward the end, I would say. But I would say the writing overall, what you'd expect.
What you expect. I think it was on par with the first season, if nothing else. Maybe a little notch better.
Yeah.
Notch better.
Different pattern to the season, but at least on par.
Yeah.
No surprises.
Completely different arch.
Production value surprised me. The effects are terrible. Terrible.
You don't like them?
I just think it looks so fake.
It does, but
Looks
for me,
looks like a Pixar film, mixed with Tim Burton.
See, I didn't think that. I think for me it passes because it's not supposed to be. I mean, the Upside Down is not necessarily reality. So the effects to me, that kind of stuff doesn't mean a whole lot. I think for a TV show, for what it is, I think it's
not a
perfectly
TV show.
acceptable.
Here, I think goes back to why Jurassic Park looks a lot better than Jurassic World. I still think Jurassic Park is some of the best CGI overall effects ever. The original, I think it's better than the second one, the third one, and most modern effects. And here's why: because it was new, they limited the technology. So when they're in the upside down, that's believable because it's kind of a different world. But when they bring elements of the upside down into the real world, it looks really
like the little
fake.
monster guy.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but spoiler alert: there are monsters in Stranger Things. So the monsters come when they're in the real world. You're like, oh, okay, that looks like a Lego with a lizard skin wrapped on it.
Yeah,
a Lego and a condom.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. What do they call it? His little pet deal? I forget.
Calls him Dart.
Dart.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but
yeah,
it's not just a little lizard. For those of you who don't know. So production value, okay. One thing too, I know I'm going to catch flack for this. Number 11 is going to have a hard time acting when it's anything more than this or crying. That's it. She can't do it.
I didn't like her in the first season, and that's one thing for me was weird. The love story is weird. It's like I don't know how I'm supposed to care about a love story between a couple 8-year-olds, 12-year-olds, whatever they are.
That's her agent. Hey, I got this great kid. Do you have any roles that require this? No, we need a pirate. We need a love interest. Okay, I'll call you back.
I'm so glad they spent a lot less time on her in the season compared to the first, because I did not think she's not that interesting to me. Yeah, and the love story's not that interesting to me. I think the only interesting part in this season is the dynamic between her and Hopper. Hopper is what makes her a little bit interesting in this season.
You hear that, Hopper?
I think he's the only that makes her interesting.
Yes,
that parental sort of. They're parental, but
right.
it's there's tension and strife.
Yeah. Anyway, we should have filed that under when we were talking about characters. But yeah, I think we both agree. She's like everyone's like, oh, she's amazing. No, listen, I think Karen Strong would be a better number 11 than number 11. It's just unless she's crying, and there's some actors like that who can do the scenes that are high velocity. Right. It's kind of like when people talk about Mariah Carey or like Whitney Houston or the best singers, and you compare it to Carpenter. There's some, or even Aretha Franklin, that whole. Patti LaBelle, and they're doing that thing, but then the in-betweens, they're flat. You're flat. And they don't care about it. And then you have singers who, the in-betweens. A great example, Alec Baldwin, Jason Bateman. The in-betweens, like he's on that show Ozark with Laura Linney, and she's big with the explosive crying, but on the in-betweens, the natural dialogue, he carries it, and it's believable, and it's not something you notice a lot.
Yeah. That's like Liam Neeson. Have you ever seen Liam Neeson try to carry like a normal like bro conversation?
Yeah.
There's films I watched with him where he's like trying to like kick back with some beers with guys. I'm like, you have no idea how to do this, do you?
Yeah.
You can punch people.
Would I have a very particular set of beers? Some are stouts, some are porters. And it's like, damn it, Liam, can you... What? Was that unnatural? That's how I drink beers with my mates. No, that's not how most guys do it.
Literally no one does it that way.
I could do a love scene with a keg. No, that's not what we need. So that's the thing with number 11. I think a lot of people who watch these, you kind of get exposed in some of these areas. So that overall entertainment value, I will tell you this, almost shut it off at episode 2.
Really?
My wife and I were like, it was so boring.
I didn't think it was that bad.
It was plotting, and I thought, this is going to be a whole thing just trying to tap into what people liked.
Yeah.
I liked the first season. Again, we saw it with no expectations. I don't get every Halloween costume being someone in Christmas lights. I didn't think it was that great. Certainly not like The Night Of on HBO. I know some leftist undercurrents, but that is my measuring stick now for all shows that are after. It's the best drama series I've ever seen on television. It's unbelievable. Watch, people are going to be furious about that. But the entertainment value as a season overall, worth it, especially if you were a fan of Stranger Things.
I thought it was pretty good from the start. I was confused at the beginning because I didn't know where it was going.
That's very typical.
Yeah, I know. I spent most of my life confused.
Who is that man? That's Applejack. No. You know him, man.
There's a lot of questions, especially with new characters. You're like, I don't know where these guys are coming from, but I'm going to hang on and see where it goes. Something I love about this one, I think it did better in some ways than the first season, was kind of invoking some of that Steven Spielberg suspense better than the first one. For instance, one example is there's a scene, a little bit of spoiler here, where they're in a bus.
Hold on. Give him a second. Okay, go.
They're in a bus, and Steve's protecting the kids from the Gorgon.
You ruined it!
Gorgon monster.
I know about the bus now!
There's a scene where you see the footprints and the sounds. You don't see anything of the monster, but you see its footprints on the ceiling. And that reminded me of like some of my favorite scenes of Jurassic Park.
You have a short memory, that's what I'll say. Because think about it. The first 3 episodes of Stranger Things, that's all it was. The first 4 episodes, it was great
yeah,
suspense.
the first season.
Yeah,
The first
the first season,
Yeah.
but the first 4 episodes,
First
and
4
then the
episodes.
season went to crap.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's
But I'm
any
saying
of
there's
that,
there's more of that in this season. As I think they did it best in the first
I don't
season.
think so.
But there's more in the season.
I don't think so. I think there's more of that in the first 4 episodes of Stranger Things. Put it this way: Stranger Things was a suspense thriller, and then it was like a glorified Goosebumps episode in the last half of Stranger Things. Okay, if you like the suspense thriller of the first half, I would say it maintains that more consistently in this season, and I think a big part of it benefits from a shortened season because it was really dragging out. How many episodes was the first season 1?
I think it was 8. This one's 9.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess it just felt like it was dragging. The first season really felt like the last 2 episodes were like, okay, man, you should have wrapped this up a while ago.
Yeah.
But,
Not as much time passed in the last few episodes. It took place all in like the same couple
By the
hours.
time the last episode, it's like hey, Stranger Things season 1. Not only is a fat lady sung, she's gone into cardiac arrest. This is enough. Okay, season's over. If you like that first portion of the season, the kind of almost film noir thriller aspect, there's more of that consistently throughout, but not as much as in the first 4 episodes. If you like the and walking into trees and axes and putting people in pools, not as much of that.
No.
So overall, I liked this season more. Final review. What do you say?
Final review. I give it a mugs up.
Yeah, final review. I'd say if you liked season 1 of Stranger Things, if your expectations are in line with that, I actually think the season is overall better. If you just like the special effect alien stuff, I think you'll be disappointed. So for me, I give it a mugs up. So both 2 mugs up.
2 mugs up.
2 mugs up. Stranger Things 2. Ooh.
Ooh. This is from yesterday. I'm not drinking this.
It's from the Upside Down.